welcome to Potting with Shalon. I am Shalon, and this is the piece of work we're doing today. As you can see, I already took it out of the pot, washed out the roots, that kind of thing, as best as I could. As you can see, it's a pretty sizable guy, and this is not the biggest fella. I have one bigger than he. So what we're going to do now, we're going to remove all the unnecessary roots. We're going to look at the possibility of something of a root spread or whatever the case is, but mainly removing all the unnecessary roots that we don't want, because as you can see, the roots have been growing in a ball here, and I would much prefer for them to spread that way. When we remove the unnecessary roots, we're also going to look at all the remaining roots to see if they are good, if they are healthy, right? As you can see, I don't know if you're seeing this properly, but the roots are not as full or as rounded as they should, as though they dehydrated. Now I'm going to check to see if this is dehydration or if this is root rot, or if there is something else amiss, right? So we're going to see what's going on with this. So we're going in hard. Wow. Alright guys, I took away a good bit of roots so far, right? And I still have a lot to take away, but I'm thinking, I don't like how this mat up down to the bottom down here. And considering that I want a root spread, I am going to try something. Dun dun dun. Say shiny and bright. Like rain want to come, yes? So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to which will allow, once the planting dead, but it ain't gonna die, for new feeder roots to come, right? Because we're gonna plant it in something of a shallow pot. I ain't get the pot yet. Getting it soon. Don't worry. And we're gonna plant it in something of a shallow pot, and what is happening is that we're gonna do some, because this is a relatively old plant. This plant is about 15 years old. I like how this looking. You may like how this looking at all. No roots in growing out of here. Everything looks like it's growing up and inside and around right in the same spot, and I want this plant, there's a possibility that it wasn't getting fed properly, hence the soft roots. So far, everything that I cut is healthy. So far, every root that I've cut is healthy. Example, right? Everything that I cut, healthy. But I want it to be healthier than this. So I am going to cut away this entire bottom. And then we're going to look at what else is there to be removed root-wise. Then we're going to look at the top to see, is this the future branching that we want, or do we want to create a new branch system? I would want to create a new branch system, so I'm going to cut some of these, not some of these, I'm going to cut these branches and then all to probably the same height or staggering in height, and see what is happening from there. Now this, I know, this ain't happening. This ain't happening like today for tomorrow. This is over time. But we're gonna start the work now, and the rain is down. We're gonna start the work now so that we can have something very, very gorgeous to look at in a couple of years, in a year or so. Because desert roses grow kind of fast based on the treatment and based on conditions and whatnot. Right, so the rain falling, I don't want the rain to wet up my phone and mash up my phone. So I'll go see all of this now. Alright guys, so like it was a passing cloud. So we're going to continue working. As I stopped, always remember to clean your tools. Always remember to clean your tools. And the reason we clean these tools is that we do not introduce any new bacteria or funguses into the plant. So we clean the tools so that we plant. We are putting sugar in our cavity. Now there was a saying, they used to say long time here in Trinidad. When you think rain that stuff is cricket. It'll stop gardening too sometimes. Oh God. Alright, so we've cut away the roots that we don't want. I still see one or two inside here. That could be a problem. So we want to do some branching. We want to encourage more branching, and as I said before, we want to eventually create a pretty decent canopy, right? And in order to do that, we have to start somewhere. Now, let me just get a better angle on this camera. Hold on. Right, so sense make before book. as the next long time said, sense make before book. So I had a bucket, I placed it in the bucket, I cleaned the bucket, I placed it in the bucket so it could stand upright. Sorry for the noise. Yeah. I placed it in the bucket so that I could concentrate on dealing with the branches and where we want to start this canopy from. Now, based on what has been happening here, some of these branches were cut already. Right, let me just bring this in so that you can see. All right, so that you can see some of these branches were cut already. We had some, this is a major cut here. All right, look, another major cut here. I want, look, we flowering. What we're going to do now, we're going to, just as how we cut the roots, I'm not sure that I'm going to cut it the same way. So I'm going to look at it for a second and make a decision as to how I'm going to treat with this this top part and eventually getting a canopy here. So I'm saying, wow. Alright, so I contemplate until you know when you think and you think too much and you lost sight of your original idea. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut. I'm going to propagate these cut branches. So we're not wasting nothing. So when we propagate those, we will get better at propagating branches. Yeah? So we're trying a thing. Good. So, perforated knife does the job. Alright guys, so now that we made all of our cuts, it is time to apply cinnamon. And just a reminder, I know I would have said it before and I'll keep saying it. It acts as an antifungal. If you don't want to use, it's a cheap household item, well, relatively household item. Relatively cheap, that is, that you can use, and it works well on helping with these cut points, so that the planting will get no set of fungus, right? And it helps to speed up the healing over of these cut points, and we have a lot of cut points. So I'm going to apply this, and when this is applied, I am going to place the plant into a shaded area. So we just sorted after Big Gill. Now we're gonna deal with Big Gill's branches. Right, so we're gonna make a flat cut. And follow the branches. Take away the leaves so that energy from this or whatever life remains in this is not concentrated in trying to allow the leaves to survive. Because what we want ideally is for it to push roots. So we're going to remove the leaves. We're going to do this with all of these branches, and we're going to also put this up for a few days, probably for the rest of the week, because it's quite rainy here and it's very humid and whatnot. And we want to make sure that it calluses, the cut point calluses over quite well. So we're going to leave this for a while, for a week or so, and then come back and pot it up. Alright guys, so you're seeing yep, so we're going to leave these guys out to dry, and let me show you the next desert rose we're working on. Hold a minute. So you have the opinion that this guy was big. Look at this fella. Watch the both of them. Chalk and cheese. This is going to be, hold on. This is going to be, what's the word, a colossal piece of work. Look at this root here. Look at the size of this root here. This is one bulbous piece of root. Olya, I don't know, sir. Look at this man. So stay tuned. This is Potting with Shalon. The next, that was part 1. This is going to be part 2. This is going to probably be a 3-part or 4-part video because we still have to pot them up and whatnot. Right? Oh my.